The new lesson, making India's independent constitution. India's independent India's constitution. Look at here the two figures. They are the two persons. One is a Raja, another is a Munje. Raja and Munje. They are the leaders during the freedom struggle. They have their contribution in a pact, which the pact is called Raja Munje Pact. Raja Munje Pact. This pact held between these two persons. One is Balakrishna Shivaram Munje, in short B.S. Munje, who was a freedom fighter and follower of the resilient, means the best follower of the Tilak, follower of Lokamanya Tilak, and was a secretary, general secretary of a central Indian province. That is Balakrishna Shivaram. Here it is there. Look at here. Balakrishna Shivaram Munje, who won Kapia. And another is Mailai Chinnathambi Pillai Raja. Mailai Chinnathambi Pillai Raja, who is called MC Raja. MC Raja, who also very important leader. He also very important leader and a Dalit politician. He was Dalit politician. These two people entered into a pact, an agreement. What that agreement will see here. Okay. So here we look at the background history for making the constitution, how it started. It was the last years of the British rule in India, which shaped some political aspirations and events which occurred in India during the freedom struggle at the last phase, shaped the constitution. Some political aspirations which created a struggle for independence of India. What are those political aspirations? Equality, freedom from the colonial rule, justice, and the self rule. So, these are some political aspirations which started in the last years of the British rule, which ending in India. Some events occurred there that shaped the constitution. So, our constitution is the product from political aspirations which began in the last period, that is from 1936 to 1947. By that time, Gandhiji was not much interested in politics, so he was confined to only his ashram. From there, he was guiding to the Congress leaders and other leaders in shaping the constitution. In the year 1936 and 1937, elections started, that what we call electoral politics. that ended by 1946. Two times elections were conducted in British India. One is in 1937, another is in 1946. At the same time, that is in the 1946 elections time, elections were conducted for Constituent Assembly to draft the constitution, that is to create the constitution. One body of members is essential, that what we call Constituent Assembly. Constituent Assembly refers to the an association with the members who make the constitution. So here in 1946, elections were conducted for Constituent Assembly to elect the members. And these members of the Constituent Assembly, they had written the constitution. Under Constituent Assembly, several committees were appointed, in which one is a drafting committee. So all the committees were given some work, and that work is assigned to the Constituent Assembly. So all various committees submitted their report to the Constituent Assembly. With all those reports, Constituent Assembly prepared the Constitution. Okay. By that time, the Congress was a dominant political party. It is a very powerful political party at that time. Okay, that what we call political stream. What in by political stream? Very strong and dominant political party at that time. And this party stood up for a unified Indian nationalism. It means it stood for all Indians, in which it covered all the social communities, that what you call it, various kinds of caste people and religious people were covered. Understand? So Congress stood up for Indian nationalism, that is unifying all the people. It did not stand for only Hindus. It stood for all the people, irrespective of their religion and caste. That what we call unified Indian nationalism, encompassing in the sense covering all sections of the society. So in 1937 elections and in 1946 elections, Congress stood with a majority of seats. We studied in the previous chapters. Majority of the seats won by the Congress party. Okay. So one major party was the Congress at the time. Around this same time, we see some two other political parties also came with religious nationalism. What that? Religious nationalism. Understand? That is what you call here. It is Hindu Mahasabha and Muslim League. They also entered into the political elections, that with religious nationalism. They stood for religious nationalism. Hindu Mahasabha advocating Hinduism as a nationalism to unite all Hindus. Muslim League also trying to bring all the Muslims at one and create a state for all Muslims. That is a religious nationalism. Okay. which started in India. Okay, both Hindu Mahasabha and Muslim League, they contested in elections and propagated religious ideas as the political ideas and ideology. So we see here, along with the Congress, second political party which came into the what to call onto the platform, that is Hindu Mahasabha and Muslim League. Okay, these are the what two what you call second in the second stage, what you call the after the Congress. Congress was a dominant party, and in the second level, Hindu Mahasabha and Muslim League were there. And in the third place, that is called third stream, that is the third political party which also came into the elections with the peace and nationalism, that is Communist Party of India. What is that? Communist Party. This Communist Party of India preferred peace and nationalism, preferring to the farmers and their struggles. Okay, which opposed British rule and also princely rule in 560, near about 564 princely states. So three political parties we have seen. Congress party in the first place in its domination, in the second place Hindu Mahasabha, Muslim League, and third is a Communist Party of India, which stood for a peace and nationalism, and also let me check that my voice it is talking. Okay, it is Communist Party of India. Communist Party of India stood for peace and nationalism and opposed British rule, and also condemned the princely rule in princely states. 565 princely states were there in our India. We discussed it. There the princess rule, and they were not giving freedom and equality to the people. So, under the guidance of a Communist Party of India, peasants gathered. That is a third political party. That is third stream. Stream in the sense political party which growing up. Okay. And the fourth political stream which had come from the self-respect movement. In Tamil Nadu, self-respect movement started by Ramaswamy Naikar. Who's that? Ramaswamy Naikar. He was the leader of a self-respect movement in Tamil Nadu. And Bhaskar Rao Jadhav, under his leadership in Maharashtra, one more movement started. That was a non-Brahmins party. In that party, there were no Brahmins. Okay. This is the fourth stream. That is the fourth political party which started around that time. Okay. At Bombay, that is in Maharashtra and Tamil Nadu. Okay, that what we call a self-respect movement. From the self-respect movement of the Ramaswamy Naikar and Bhaskar Rao Jadhav, a party started. A party came into the existence. That is a fourth one. Okay, around this time, that means at this moment only, Ambedkar, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, stood for a depressed class. He started a All India Depressed Class Movement. All India Depressed Class Movement started with the leadership of Ambedkar. Understand? He was standing on the side of the depressed class people. Ambedkar was standing. Who are called depressed class people? Those who are not given equal rights in the society. In other words, we call Dalits, that is SCs and STs. They were not given due respect with the remaining caste people in the society. So Ambedkar stood for them. Okay. Around this time, B.S. Munje, just now I have shown the figure of picture of B.S. Munje, right? That is Balakrishna Shivaram Munje, right? He was moving very closely with outcast leaders who are called outcast Dalits, that is SCs and STs. That means B.S. Munje was moving closely with Ambedkar. In 1932, in the month of February, one agreement took place between Balakrishna Shivaram Munje and just now I said what that Mailai Chinna Thambi Rajan in Tamil Nadu, that is MC Raja. So MC Raja and BS Munje, they made one agreement to support joint electorate. What do you mean by joint electorate? That is constituent in making the constitution. There is a constituent assembly. In the constituent assembly, certain seats should be reserved for depressed class people also, and that is called Raja Munje Pact. What we call Raja Munje Pact was assigned to support joint electorate with the Hindus. Along with the Hindus, there should be support for other outcast people. Understand? And finally, we see on the pressure of government, British government, and at that time the Viceroy Lin Lithgow was a Viceroy. So with the force of Lin Lithgow and the British government, Ambedkar entered into an agreement with Gandhiji in 1932. That what we call, Pune Pact. What we call Pune Pact. It is an agreement between Gandhiji and Ambedkar in 1932. That agreement says there should be reserve there should be reservation to the seats of depressed class. So here Ambedkar turned to the leader of depressed class people. Which people? Depressed class people. That is SCs and STs. Understand? This is what to call the growth of the Ambedkar, who turned the leader of depressed class people. Understand? Right? And here we see that depressed class people movement also turned a part of the national movement. That is, in national movement, depressed class movement also become a part. Understand? The DC leaders agenda, that is giving due respect and due share to the Dalits, also become the part of the national political agenda. That means national struggle, that is independence struggle. Throughout India, many more associations were established for the cause of DC classes, that is depressed classes. In Punjab and Bengal too, we find DC classes, DC associations were set up. Under national movement, DC movements also become the part, and here in national movement, they took the activities of temple entry movements. In those days, Dalits were not allowed into the temples, right? So, what I am saying here, under the national movement, in a national movement, they carried some sub movements. National movement is not only the struggle for freedom, it is also struggle to emancipate depressed class people from inequality. So here DC leaders, they carried some activities under DC movement, that is depressed class movement. What is that? It is temple entry movement. Look at here, temple entry movement. In those days, Dalits were not allowed into the temple. Now their support is essential in getting the freedom. So for the cause of independence, everybody should struggle. So their struggle is different, that they were not given due respect. So it is needed to see it is needed that to treat everyone equally, understand? So temple entry movements were carried there, and moving to the untouchable residence house, also part of the national movement, understand? Which are the part? Untouchable residential quarters, visiting their houses, visiting to Dalits houses, allowing them into the temple. These are the what part of the national movement, understand? Right? So here we see that national movement was not only just the independence from the British rule, but also integration of all sections in the society. That is, certain caste people were not integrated here. There was a caste prejudice, caste discrimination was there. So to overthrow British rule, there is need the support from all. So it is not only the movement for independence, but also integration of all people belonging to lower classes in the society. Okay, so who is the person carrying the water this movement? Ambedkar, right? Ambedkar was the leader of the DC movement, that is a depressed class movement. Okay, so here an all Indian schedule caste federation was started by Ambedkar. All India Scheduled Caste Federation started in 1942. Okay, and MC Raja, that is Chinna Tambi Raja, okay, who was very close with Gandhiji, disappointed with Gandhiji, and joined with Ambedkar. It means you have to understand that the caste become very important point. Even Charat Chandra Bose, brother of Subhash Chandra Bose, also supported a DC movement, right? It means that the caste playing here a kind of role. So to avoid the caste feelings, there many people joined with Ambedkar, that is All India Scheduled Caste Federation. Understand? So here we see the Sharat Chandra Bose, brother of Subhash Chandra Bose, also supported it. Ambedkar was considered the main leader of DC, that is a depressed class, and he became sole representative of the scheduled caste. There is a leader of the scheduled caste, understand? And which become very important party. Ambedkar's, that is All India Scheduled Caste Federation, also become very popular along with the Muslim League. Understand? The British government also recognized Ambedkar's what to call the question that everybody should be given equality. The Dalits who are not treated equally with the rest of the caste people should be given due importance. That is legitimate representation should be given for the depressed class people. Understand? So that is a point recognized by the British officials. Understand? So here in special scheduled caste politics also became very important in Allahabad. There a meeting held in Allahabad. A conference was held in Allahabad in the month of December 1942. Okay, in the month of December 1942, Ambedkar declared that India was not a nation. It was a nation of. It was a constellation of nations. దట్ మీన్స్ భారతదేశం ఒక దేశం కాదు, దేశమే మాత్రం ఇది దేశాల సమైక్య. దట్ మీన్స్ ఇండియా ఈజ్ అ నేషన్ కన్సిస్టింగ్ ఆఫ్ సెవరల్ నేషన్స్. That he given due importance to all the sections. That means many nations are there within India. That is the meaning what I want to say, that a constellation of nations. Understand? Right? So Ambedkar stated that in a conference held what to call at Allahabad, that is India was not a nation but constellation of a nation, warning the British and Congress also. Okay, this is the point you need to